Hi, I'm Dave Rossum, founder with my partner Marco Alpert with Rossum Electro Music. I've been in the synthesizer world for a long time, and it's great to get back into the modular part of the community. We're delighted to be part of the Eurorack marketplace, and at the show we've introduced 4 new modules. One is in production right now and will be available in a week or 2 in stores. The others will be coming out in the spring quarter. So let me introduce you first to Evolution. Evolution is our analog module. It's a ladder filter, but we've added a lot of really interesting features onto it. The ladder filter, of course, was built by Bob Moog back in the '65. I made improvements on it in the EMU modular system, which was in the 1970s, and that was the basis of the design for Evolution. We called it Evolution because it's evolved from that point on. We added voltage-controlled Q. Those of you familiar with the Moog and EMU filters remember that as you increase the resonance or Q, the bottom end dropped out of the sound because of the negative feedback around that. Q compensation knob here takes care of that. You can adjust it from no drop at all to all the way back where the Moog and EMU filters behaved and anywhere in between. The fun things we added were these controls, we call them Genus and Species. Species controls the degree of distortion that you get through the ladder filter. The ladder filter is very clean, but it does have this subtle distortion that's the classic Moog and EMU sound. You get down to this end of the control and it's the very cleanest you can get, very much like the EMU 2100 modular. Bring it up a little more, it becomes more Moog-like in character. As you come up more and more, you're going to get a little bit more distortion you found in the Moog. Get to about halfway and you're really driving the ladder as hard as you can without it going into saturation. As you bring the species control up more and more, beyond that point, you're overdriving the ladder. It produces some really nice, interesting effects. They're not gross, horrible, grating distortions. They're just the kind of mellow influences you'd expect in a low-pass type of character. My favorite here, and the LEDs are going up and down to show us what's going on, is what we call a Genus control. A ladder filter has discrete rungs of the ladder, so it's typically a certain number of poles, classically 4 poles, but we found a way to steer current around those stages so that we can voltage control in a continuous way from 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 6 poles. And this not only changes the slope of the ladder cutoff, but also changes the location of the point of resonance. So you have this very continuous but yet quantized frequency where the resonance is occurring. It's a unique sound. We really loved it when we heard it in prototype. I just had to make the module, and we were really happy with how it came out. We've got it running over here on a sequence, so let me just pop this going here. We can take the resonance down here, pop it up, add some of the low end back in. Now let's play a little bit with a slow things down a little bit. Those little vocal sounds are a result of sweeping Here, this has an interesting effect on the resonance as well, quite different from just the Q control. Now we're getting into that. So a lot of fun to play with, a lot of space to explore. Our beta tester said that you could adjust those controls and make it sound like this huge different variety of filters, and hope you have fun playing with it. The next 2 modules we've got are digital in nature. They're both in prototype form here at the show, and the best place to look at them is over here. They're both inspired by the EMU Morpheus sound module that came out in 1993. For people familiar with it, Morpheus uses what we call Z-plane filters. They are 14th order filters, and in a given filter selection on this Morpheus module, you can think of those filters as the vertex points, the corners of a cube. So there are 8 of them. Each one is a different filter. We have presets, some 240 of them, that came out of the Morpheus module that were carefully designed by EMU sound designers and contractors way back when. You can then, if the video will pick up the little fly speck inside the cube, in real time, even at audio rates, morph between all 8 of these filters in a cube type of space. So you have 3 different dimensions, a frequency dimension, a morphing dimension, and a transform dimension for each of these. They all can be voltage controlled. And then the additional controls allow you to construct presets with different subsets of those filter spaces, different gains for the left and right channel. It's a stereo filter. And then establish sequences of those presets, so you'll be able to step through and in real time move from one filter to another, one filter cube to another as you perform. Either under sequence control, you can move the sequencer forward, backward, or back to the start with triggers, or in real time through the selector right here. Also in EMU's Morpheus module, there was something called the function generator, rather mundane name, so we renamed it Control Forge and adapted it to the Eurorack market. Control Forge is an 8-segment function generator, which can serve as an envelope generator, an LFO, or even a sequencer. Each of these 8 stages here transitions to another stage, not necessarily the one immediately after it, under program control. And those programs can be either directly sequenced into there or conditional. For example, right now as we're running through this LFO, you'll see now we're going through 8 stages along here. But if I take this control point down below about 3 volts, it now gets captured in the first 2. So we're moving back and forth between one another. You'll notice also that this isn't just going up and down. It's got this little zigzag shape as drawn by the curve here. Every one of these segments has its own unique shape, and that gets selected among a library of curves that are as simple as nice lines and exponentials up to little jagged curves with some corners in them. And then we get a little wild and do zigzags back and forth and add degrees of randomness and chaos and things like that. You also, in programming it, can make things either relative or absolute to each other, add randomness, and adjust these conditional targets so that you can use both logic and control voltages to determine the character of your envelope as you go through. There's also a real-time manual and voltage control of the time scale that's happening as well. Huge amount of flexibility, but it also once again contains presets and a preset sequencer, so out of the box it can be just used with a whole variety of envelopes that we'll have built by our contractors, and then you can program that to your heart's delight for whatever you want. We realize this is quite a bit of panel space, and of course the display is kind of expensive, so our 4th module we're showing at the show, and we just have a mock-up over here. This doesn't have any circuitry behind it, but this has the full functionality of the Control Forge, but just doesn't have the programming controls or the display, so it takes up less panel space, and you just plug the Control Forge into the satellite. All the presets and sequences are transferred over, and you've got now an independent source that does everything the Control Forge you had did in much smaller panel space. So you can buy a bunch of these if you want. We hope you will. That's what we've got right now. We're happy to be in the Eurorack market. We've got more things in mind, so you'll hear more from us in the near future. Thanks a lot.